Okay, hi everyone. In this video, we are going to look at introduction of OOPS. Okay, so this will be our first video in OOPS. So the first topic is what is OOPS, right? So we can say that OOPS is a programming style. It is not a programming language. It is a programming style. What do you mean by programming style? It means that it is a way of writing codes. Earlier, when OOPS was not developed, uh, then also there used to be some softwares. Softwares were also developed without OOPS. Softwares can be developed without using OOPS, and programming can be done. Programming languages can be done without OOPS. But the main benefit of OOPS is that your it becomes very easy and efficient to program, to develop softwares, to code, right? So OOPS is a programming style, right? So for example, when C was developed, C is not a object oriented programming language. C is a procedure oriented programming language, right? So in C also you can write softwares. In C also you can do programming, but it becomes very difficult when you have to make a very large software, and when there is a large number of files, there is a large number of lines of code. So OOPS was developed to make programming easy, right? So the next topic is evolution of programming language. So now let's see how the programming languages evolve. So at the lowest level you have machines, and at the highest level you have user. Okay, so machine means your hardware. So earlier the programming languages, the first programming language, okay, you can say that earlier when machines were developed, they could only do very simple tasks. For example, like adding, subtraction, and so on. Why? Because at that time when machines were developed, the hardware was very simple, and it was very difficult to it was very difficult to code, because programming languages were also not developed. For example, earlier the programmer used to code using machine code. It is a programming language, and in this programming language binary is used. For example, you have to add two numbers. What you will do? You will write like this: 100 will be the code for adding, and this will be number 1 and this will be number 2. Suppose you have to multiply two numbers, you will do like this: 0110. So 101 is the code for multiplying, and this is number 1 and this is number 2. Okay, so this is how the programmer used to write their code, and it becomes very difficult to write, and then it becomes very difficult to understand, right? So then after that came, so first at the lowest level you have machine code, and then came assembly code. Now what happens? In assembly code, simple words were used. For example, if you have to use add two numbers, you can use add, and then you can write number 1 and number 2. If you have to multiply two words, you can write mul and then number 1 and number 2, right? So assembly language were developed to make the task of programmers easy, but still it is very difficult to use because memory management used to be done by the programmer. Okay, for example, you have to specify the address of this instruction and then address of next instruction. Okay, so then assembly language were slightly easy but still very tough. Next came your C program. Your next came procedure or structured programming languages. Structured programming languages, for example, C. Now what happens here? A lot of task is done easy. Okay, in C you have advanced tools like compiler, linker. It will handle the compiler, and linker will handle all the memory management related tasks. You don't have to manage the memory by yourself. Second, it also has very large number of features. For example, you can use for loops, you can use if else, you can use while loop. Okay, so this is what C programming language does. It provides you some new features, so the task of programmer has become very easy. Now still there is a when you okay, so for writing a small number of code, small lines of code, C is very good. But when we have to develop a very big software, very large software, and there are thousands of lines of codes and several hundreds of files, and then it becomes very difficult to manage. because in C the main focus is on functions, and it becomes very difficult to understand that what is happening in the code. It is become very difficult to organize, and it becomes very difficult to reuse that code. Okay, so next came after that OOPS, object oriented programming language. Okay, so the main concept of OOPS is classes. The main concept of OOPS is classes, and the main concept of procedure language is function. Okay, so in OOPS classes were added. Okay, so in OOPS classes were added, and it has helped the programmers in a great way. Okay, so now the programmers can, with the help of classes, you can write your codes, you can organize your code, and you can very efficiently reuse it. Okay, so time is so using OOPS, what are the benefits of OOPS? The benefit of OOPS is your code is more organized, and you can reuse your code. You can it becomes less time consuming to write your code, and so on. Okay, so with the help of classes, so our main focus will be on classes. Okay, so this is the evolution of programming languages. Now let's see next topic, C versus C++. Next is C versus C++. Okay, so let us see some differences between C and C++. C is procedure oriented, or you can say structured programming language, whereas C++ is object oriented. Okay, object oriented means it is related to classes. Second, in C the main focus is on function. Your C program, suppose this is your C program, it will be divided into several different function function. In C++, your main focus is on classes. Here there will be a large number of class 2, class 3, so this is how your code will be divided. Okay, in C there is no function, there are no classes, and in C++ you have function as well as class. And finally, in C there are no namespaces. Okay, I will talk about namespace later. And in C++ you have namespace. Okay, okay. So now let's see what are namespaces. Let me explain it first. What is a namespace? Suppose when you write your code, you use this line. In C++, you always use this line, using namespace std. Okay, so namespace is a way of organizing your code so that you can use different names again, so that you can have variables or functions with same name. For example, this is your std namespace. Okay, std namespace is predefined, and it contains all the standard library functions. For example, cout, cin. Okay, so std is a namespace, and it contains functions like cout and cin. Now you can only use this name cout once. You cannot have another function with name cout, otherwise it will be an error. Okay, in C and C++ you can only use the function with one name. So similarly you can only use cin with only one name, only one time. You can use this name only one time. Okay, but now what happens if you are using namespace? Suppose the name of this namespace is std. This is std namespace, and inside this std namespace standard library functions are present. Now you can create your own namespace. For example, my namespace. Inside this namespace you can use the same function name. You can create a function cout. Inside this namespace you can create a function cin. Now how is it possible that you can use the same name twice? Because of namespace. Okay, so now this, when you use this cout, it will be from std namespace, and this cout will be from my namespace. So how do you tell the compiler that which cout function you want to use? There are two cout functions with the same name. One is in std namespace, one is in my namespace. Okay, so to tell the compiler, you have to write this command using namespace std. Okay, so the now compiler will understand that when you are using cout a, you are using this namespace. Okay, now suppose I am want to use this cout. How can I use this cout? If I am writing cout, then compiler will take it from std namespace. Now if you want to use this cout, then you will have to write like this, my namespace and then cout. Now what is happening? This is the namespace, name of your namespace. This is scope resolution operator. This is called scope resolution operator and then cout. It means that this cout is from this namespace. And if you are using like this std scope resolution operator and then cout, it means that this cout is from this namespace. Okay, so in this manner you can use cout function. You can have two cout functions. This cout function is different and this cout function is different. This cout function is in my namespace and this cout function is at std namespace. Okay, and you have to write the name of this namespace with scope resolution operator. Similarly you can do for std. Now why you are using this command using namespace std? Okay, suppose using namespace std. Now when I am doing this, what happening is cout cin. Suppose you are in your code, you have written like this. Your code is like this. Okay, now when you write this std using namespace std, what compiler will do? It will by default put this here std. You don't have to write std. It will by default put std in front of all cout and cin function. Okay, so you don't have to write std every time. Okay, so now suppose if I don't want to use this, if you are not using this line in your compiler, in your code, in your program, then there will be an error. So what is the alternative? If you are not using this line, then you will have to specify here std. So there are two ways to use any namespace. The first way is using this line, and second way is using this scope resolution operator, namespace scope resolution operator. Okay, so this is all about namespace. And in C++ you have namespace, in C you do not have any namespace. Now next topic is features of OOPS. There are three features, there are several features of OOPS, but I will discuss them later. For now I will discuss encapsulation, inheritance and polymorphism. Okay, so the first feature is encapsulation. Encapsulation means encapsulation comes from the word capsule. Okay, now what is the difference between a capsule and a tablet? In medicine you have capsule medicine or you can have tablet, right? So capsule contains a combination of several ingredients. It has more than one ingredient, but tablet has only one ingredient. Okay, so capsule is a collection of medicine. So in a capsule you are combining one or more medicines, right? Similarly, what is encapsulation? Encapsulation means to combine variables and functions. Okay, so in your code you will have some variables and you will have some functions. So encapsulation means to combine these two. How? These will be combined in classes. Always remember, what is a class? A class will be a collection of variable and function. Variable plus function. This is a class. So encapsulation basically means classes. When I will tell you about the classes later, you will see that class is a collection of variable and function. And encapsulation means and in OOPS the main concept is class. In OOPS the main concept is class, right? So encapsulation means to combine variables and functions into. Encapsulation means what? Encapsulation means to make a capsule. Capsule will have one or more things, right? Capsule will have function, variable and functions. So in encapsulation means that you are combining variable and functions into classes, right? Next feature of OOPS is inheritance. Inheritance means to use the properties of mm, properties from someone else. For example, you have a group, vehicle group, automobile group, automobile group. Okay. Now this automobile group can be divided into two wheelers, four wheelers. These two wheelers can be divided into with gear and without gear. Similarly, this four wheeler can be divided with gear and without gear. Okay. Now this is a form of inheritance. In automobiles, you can have several properties. For example, in automobiles class, suppose automobile group, this group. Okay, so these are an example of classes, but I have not told you about classes, so I will take it as a group. Okay, so this automobile group has several objects like bus, car, taxi, bike, scooter, etc. Right? Now if you divide them into two wheelers and four wheelers, now what will happen? These four wheelers will have only four wheelers, right? And here you can write without gear. Now what you do in inheritance is, you will take this automobile class. Inside this automobile class you will have some properties which are common to all. For example, tires. Every automobile will have a tire, right? For example, seat. Every automobile will have some seat, number of seat, number of tires. Okay. Now when you come to four wheeler, you can add extra features, right? For example, in four wheelers, you can add number four tires. There are four tires. Okay. And when you come to this group without gear, you have some another feature like there are no gears. Okay, so in this way your this okay, so why we are doing this? Because suppose you have to write the code for this length, for this automobile group. Suppose you have to write the code for this class. This is four wheeler without gear. What you will do is, you will inherit this class. You will take the properties of, you will just copy the code of this class, right? You will just copy the code of automobile class, and then you can add more features, add more features, right? Similarly, if you have to write the code for this one, and the code for this automobile class is already present, this class is already present, this class is already present, you simply have to copy the code here. Okay, so this is the use of inheritance. You don't have to write the complete code, you simply the copy code of this to this and code of this to this. Okay, so when we come to inheritance in third unit, then you will understand how inheritance is done. Okay, so for now just understand that when you create this class, you don't have to write the complete code, you can copy the code from here, and then you can add more features like for two wheelers you can add without gear or with gear. Okay, and more, and some more features. Okay, so what is the advantage of inheritance? The advantage of inheritance is reusability. Reusability. Okay, reusability means you can reuse the code. Okay, when you are dividing it into like this group, you can reuse the code of your previous classes and you don't have to write it again. Now next feature of OOPS is polymorphism. Polymorphism. What is polymorphism? Polymorphism means, poly means multiple. Poly means multiple. Morphism means shape. Okay, so polymorphism means that you can have multiple functions with same name. Okay, you can have multiple function with same name. Suppose this is your function. Okay, suppose there are different functions. There are different functions. These all are different functions, but their name is same. Only the name is same. Okay. This also function has same name. This has same name. This has same name. This is called polymorphism. Polymorphism means that you can have, poly means multiple, shape. Same name will have multiple shape. The name is function. There is only one name, function, 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 but it had different shape. Okay. Thus this function will be different, the code of this function will be different, the code of this function will be different, the code of this function will be different. Okay. So the name will be same. Always remember that in polymorphism name will be same and functions will be different. Okay. So you can say that multiple functions with same name, multiple function with same name. Now this is a feature of OOPS and this is only provided in C++. In C you cannot have multiple functions with same name. In only C++ you can have. Okay. Now let us understand how to use polymorphism. Suppose you want to find the sum, you want to create a function sum. Okay. So you can write it as sum int a int b. Okay. Now you want to use another function, you want to create another function with the name same, with the name sum. Okay. So you can create another function, but there is one condition, the number of parameters should be different. Okay. I hope you all know about parameters. So these are the function parameters. The number of function parameters and type should be different. For example, there are two parameters. If you want to create another function, then you have to change the number of parameters. Then there should be 3 parameters. Now suppose if you want to add 4 numbers, then again you can use the same name. See, these are 3 different functions, function 1, function 2, function 3, and they are having the same name, sum, but the number of parameters is different. Okay. So this is what polymorphism is. You can have 3 functions with the same name, sum. What is the condition? Condition is that number of parameters should be different. This is the main condition for polymorphism. Okay. So there are 2 parameters, there are 3 parameters, there are 4 parameters. You can have different parameters of different type also. For example, you can write sum and then you can write int float. You can do this. Okay. This is int and this is float. There are 2 parameters in this and 2 parameters in this, but here both parameters of type int and here parameters is of type int and float. Okay. So your number of parameters should be different or their type should be different. This is the condition for polymorphism. Okay. And you can't do this in C. This can only be done in C++. Okay. So these are the 3 features of OOPS. The first one is encapsulation, second one is this inheritance, and third one is polymorphism. Now next topic is features of OOPS, and your next topic is classes. Okay. Now let me give you a basic introduction about class, objects. Okay. What are classes? Why do we create classes? And significance of classes. Okay. So class. The first thing is what? What is a class? A class is a collection of variable and function. Always remember, class is a collection of variable and function. Okay. And okay. So next thing is why. Why are we combining variable and function into a class? Why are we combining variable and function into a class? Because class is based on real world objects. For example, in real world you have an object called freeze. For this freeze there will be several items, right? And there will be several functions. Your items can be like food item, drink item, juice items, and so on. So these items will store some value. right? Food item will store, for example, rice. Drink item will store, for example, water. Juice item will store, for example, orange, right? So these are used to store some values. And then you will have some functions, for example, open door, turn on. So these are functions. These are not used to store any values. These are used to perform some tasks, right? So in a real world, every object will have two things. It will have some items which is used to store some values, and it will have some function which is used to do some tasks. Okay. So now, so we have to combine these two. So therefore, we are combining the classes, these items and function into classes. Okay. So what we are doing is we are combining this into class. Okay, because every real world object will have some items which is used to store some value and some function which is used to perform some task. For example, in freeze you have items called food item, drink item, juice item, and we have functions called open door, turn off, close door, turn on, turn off, etc. Okay, so why are we combining variable and functions into classes? Because it is based on real world. Why are we doing this? Because it is based on real world. In real world you can have items and functions in an object. Okay, your next point is, what is the significance of class? Significance of class. Okay, now class is the core concept of OOP. Okay, class enables you to have all the features of OOPs. I have told you about three features of OOPs: encapsulation, inheritance, polymorphism, and we can have more features like data hiding, abstraction. Okay, and then classes and objects. So these are the features of OOPs, and these features are only possible because of class. These features are only possible because of class. In encapsulation, inheritance, polymorphism, data hiding, abstraction, classes and objects. These are the features of OOPs. So what is the significance of class? Significance of class is that it allows you to have all the features of OOPs. Next comes your object. What is an object? An object is basically a copy of a class. Copy of class. But you cannot say copy, you can say instance. Instance is a technical word. A object is an instance of a class. Okay, always remember object is an instance of a class. Why we are using objects? Because we can use classes by the help of objects. What is the purpose of object? The purpose of object is to use classes. Okay, when you are creating any class, you will be using it by the help of object, 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 object. So this is why objects are created. Okay, class is just a blueprint. Class is, you can say, blueprint. Okay, and you are using this class by the help of objects. Now we will see in next video, we will see how to use classes and how to use functions. Okay, so that's it for this video. Now let's stop this.